Let me give you a story. When my son started hugging, when he started getting to that area, where the thing is beginning to connect, because he will go to church and go and hug women that had Ikebe. And he makes sure that when he hugs them, when he says, "Auntie, good morning," he will make sure that his hand touches. Until that came and reported my son. So I had to be asking inside meeting that, have you seen me hug anybody like this before? For crying out loud.
And we've got Kayode at Tobatele. Oh my God. Okay, PK. So does Kayan sex toys or porn have a place in marriages or relationships? That's what we've been talking about, and we've had many ideas and thoughts. So what are yours, please?
So first of all, let us define, because somebody is saying men are addicted to porn. Like, say, what kind of?
I knew it was.
Let me first. That's the last part I heard. I was like, "What do you mean by men are addicted?" Men like sex. Let me just help the ladies here today. Let me tell you how simple every man, no matter how successful you think, and unfortunately, including your fathers that you love a lot. Right? Let me speak.
Leave my daddy alone. Leave my daddy out of this.
Because women always think that all men are scum except their dads and then their favorite uncle, their favorite brother.
Naturally.
Just because they're not saying or doing stuff in your presence does not mean they're not saying or doing stuff generally. Let me see if I can explain this in very simple terms. Most men, okay, so forget the one that will now, you see, some of us, small time when we're carrying Bible, we can no longer say these things in the open. We can only think them. We can only think them, and now we will think about it, then we'll now be rebuking. We spend the rest of our lives trying to rebuke. We are always feeling guilty. But let me tell you what is really on the mind of a man. A man is easily aroused. He sees and is aroused, right? So he spends a lot of time trying not to see when he's trying to be as holy as he thinks he ought to be. It's the reason why there's a whole culture where it is the woman's fault that she basically causes a man to be aroused. And so the woman decided, okay, how about we cover everything? You can't see anything. Still, the man is still having problems because it's a natural thing that we are fighting continuously.
And it's still the woman's fault.
It's because when you are guilty, you always try to put it on somebody else. Because when you're trying not to accept, when society somehow has told you that you're not supposed to be like that, and you find out that you're like that, you now start having so many secrets. Right? Mm-hmm. So everything is a secret. I was aroused. It's a secret. That other small head has no education whatsoever. It's embarrassing me all over the place. It's a secret. Look, let me give you a story. When my son started hugging, when he started getting to that area, where the thing is beginning to connect, because he will go to church and go and hug women that had Ikebe. And he makes sure that when he hugs them, when he says, "Auntie, good morning," he will make sure that his hand touches. Until that came and reported my son. So I had to be asking inside meeting that, have you seen me hug anybody like this before? For crying out loud. This is the standard growth of boys into men. Meanwhile, the men who were in that meeting, they kind of pulled back, didn't say anything because they could not say anything because they understood everything. But now who will come talk that kind of thing in front of the women who were there? I was the only one bold enough to try and explain and be apologizing at the same time. We're not condoning it, but this now the regular this thing. So when you say men are addicted to porn, It's just like, here's the question: at what point in time did you know that Coca-Cola was Coca-Cola? If you really think about it, you start to find out that it was never really introduced to. It was never introduced to you. You just realize that Coca-Cola always existed because the brand has been so good at making sure that they put it in you before you were born, and that you grew up knowing it to be Coca-Cola. That's how good the brand is in terms of advertising. When it comes to this point, from the moment a boy is born, right? Before once a boy will just be playing outside one day, then the thing will connect. Once it connects, it's a problem. It's a problem that every boy continues to deal with throughout, and some actually are never able to deal with it fully.
Yeah, they're more or less addicts.
Yeah,
yes. Do you think that women don't have that connection too? Do you think that women don't have that
connection? Women do watch. A lot of women do watch, though.
Let me tell you what I found out over time, right? A lot of women actually have the ability to control more than men. Everybody has, so, there's no absolute all. So there are women who are also very horny, very, and will actually go out and do what they need to do. Even our mother's generation. So, you go back in time and you're wondering, what were they using Kayode for? Right?
Where's my notebook, sir?
We're looking at them as yes. If you saw Kayode as part of their stuff, what were they using it for?
Body confidence.
So that's what they tell you now.
No, it's for body confidence.
Yes. So let me tell you how it works. That body confidence, when they go party, shake them, right? A lot of people. Okay. Where the day we're talking about women, and my grandfather had 8 wives. Some of his wives basically did not get pregnant where they were, and came and tried him, got pregnant and married him. They left where they were and married him. So, that's how they'll tell you the story. But in my mind, it's like, oh, you were married to somebody in the days where there was Shango that used to strike people and they had all this stuff. And you managed to cross and find a time to meet with somebody else. Right? Then you now got pregnant, and then you now marry. So they'll just quickly do that part of the story. If you actually start to break it down, then think of what was going on at that point in time.
PK, before you continue, I asked a question, and it was Tanky and Ron that were here, and I want to ask that question again.
Yes.
Now, before the advent of religion, because Tanky and Ron were like, oh, as Christians, and I said, okay, fine.
Yes.
Before the advent of religion, in the old days that Ron loves so much, our mothers used to walk around with their boobs hanging everywhere, boobs lying low, they were side to side. There was nobody touching anybody. Nobody was, nobody was going, it was normal. And men used to walk around with these grass skirts that had nothing covered. So when the thing is walking, you will see and nobody was going, hey, look at that. And then religion came, and somehow the things that became very natural to us became unnatural.
Yes, because
it was not unnatural to be naked.
Because the more you cover up, the more you leave to imagination. Right. So for me, right, if I girlfriend, wife, whatever it is, if they are completely naked before me, it does nothing to me. But dress up small, then leave the rest to my imagination, and I'm pulling the person. Okay, let's have a conversation in the room before we go out.
Okay.
Right. So the more you cover, actually, even if you think about it, right, these people that we're talking about, I still remember those women that basically they'll back the baby. They always used to go bare chested. However, it wasn't the 20-something else that were going bare chested. If you think about it, these were the women who had their babies. They had become early grandmothers because things. But they were the ones who had perky stuff. We're not going around naked.
No, in not. You're still talking around your generation, your early childhood. I'm talking way before religion. There's still tribes today that do not have Western religion infiltrating, and they're still going around bare-chested, everything, and nobody.
because have you been to the beach where everybody is wearing swimsuit and this thing and basically swimsuit and swim pants? Okay, let me speak for me as a guy, so because I can't speak for every guy, and I don't know if it happens to every guy. When I go to the beach and everybody is looking like, I see sometimes somebody is just walking bare-chested. I don't even spend time looking. In fact, it does not move me. Probably because everybody I'm seeing is like that. And so suddenly the stuff that if we were, in the city, one would have been turning the head. If everybody's looking like that, it's like, it just doesn't, I don't feel what I will feel if I saw that in the city. I can't speak for every man, right? But that's what I noticed, that once everybody's off, no big deal. It is when it is covered that you are now imagining, then something suddenly shows a little bit. Then it's like, oh, I haven't seen that before, right? And then suddenly it's amusing. But when everybody's bare-chested, Swaziland, I think Swaziland, they have like that whole thing till date where the traditional wear, all the young girls do not wear anything, right? And it's part of their traditional dance and all that. How is it that they have all that festival? There is no problem. These things only became problems once they started to say cover it. That's the funny thing.
Exactly. And that's the thing that doesn't make any sense to me. Why is it that when it's now covered, that's when it's now
because then you're imagining. You're imagining and your imagination takes over. Once the thing is open and everybody can see everything,